Hello and welcome to the Managing Uncertainty podcast. This is Bryan Strawser, Principal and Chief Executive here at Bryghtpath. And in episode 186, I'm going to talk really briefly in this episode about something I read recently about pace, about how quickly you're innovating and moving and accelerating when it comes to the work that we're doing as resiliency professionals. This point was made in a recent article by McKinsey that I skimmed just a couple weeks ago, and I haven't been able to get it out of my head. And the quote is this. And the article, by the way, had nothing to do with resiliency. This just stood out to me and made me kind of think about this in this way. The quote is this, that your clock speed as a leader has to increase to match the environment in which you're operating in. Your clock speed has to increase to match the environment that you are operating in. I was thinking about this a lot in the context of resiliency and in the context of conversations that we've been having with clients here at Bryghtpath. The thing that we see a lot when we go into an organization and try to help them with their resiliency program, when they have an existing team and they're not happy with what they're getting, the thing that has stood out for us time and time again is that the team and the program are not aligned to the organization's strategic objectives. And one of the challenges that we see is a leadership failure. It's a cultural failure, and it is about this issue. It's about the velocity of work, and it's about the ability to change the approach that you're taking to match what your organization really needs. What stood out to me with this particular quote is that it was another way of illustrating that point, that as a leader, we need to be able to move at the pace in which the environment is moving around us. Because the only way that we can lead effectively is to make sure that our clock speed matches the pace of that environment that we're operating in. I think this is a lesson that we should have learned through COVID, rather, is that we had to radically change how businesses operated, how we collaborated, how we did the work. And we had to do these things in a very rapid manner for our organizations to survive. And now in the whatever we're in, the post-COVID era, our clock speed has to continue to increase to match that environment. And this is a failure I see time and time again with resiliency leaders and programs as we think about how do we embrace uncertainty, how do we stay ahead of the curve, the challenges that we're faced with. It's not enough just to move quickly on the way that you used to do things. It also means that you have to think about how to do these things differently, that ability to innovate and innovate quickly and make a damn decision and be able to move forward with the results of that decision. A brief episode this time around with episode 186. Your clock speed has to increase to match the environment. That's it for this edition of the Managing Uncertainty podcast. I'll be back next week with another new episode. Be well.